Welcome to the audio excerpts of special seminars and conversations with Nolan Narula on gettingpositivekarmanow.com.
So I was healing somebody in that really bad way.
You were healing somebody in
She used to live in Zambia.
Zambia, okay.
Friend cousin. And
Okay.
her name was Fanny, and she died of cancer.
Okay.
And every day, like we have other friends who are getting treated at BLK, and they are also suffering from cancer.
Where? What is BLK? Oh, BL Kapoor. Okay, here, BL Kapoor.
We suggested them for the breathing cure seminar and all. But then, sir, they are lucky that they have that kind of money, and he's spending like $20,000 on the treatment. It's a robotic treatment care going through. Both of them, one patient, yes, one is recovered, and but sir, it's spreading at the amount that what you have been saying makes sense, that to talk to them at this point about healing or doesn't make them.
No, it won't, because they're desperate, they're driven by fear. So they have to listen to the voice of fear, which is understandable, and we should have compassion for that. We shouldn't say they're stupid. We shouldn't say that there's something wrong with their brains. No, they are overwhelmed by fear. So send healing to remove their fear at the fear chakras, you know where they are, all the lower part of the body, especially if survival issues are connected to that. It is the knee and the calves and so on. So send healing to the fear, and they will be in much less pain emotionally, mentally, and physically. So that's all you can do. You see, so there are certain things that you can't just wave a magic wand of healing, it becomes okay. You know, if you think about the great master Jesus Christ, how he did his healing miracles, he did all the preparatory work first. He channeled distance healing, he prepared himself, he prepared those who were ready. So we took a lot of lessons from him by seeing how he did the healing. And we tell our Reiki masters, and we tell them that when you have a seminar, you must send healing, that those who are ready to come to you have come to you. Those who are not ready in this time window, let's say 6 months or a year, let them find an authentic Reiki master somewhere at their level where they can understand and get connected to a genuine light connection, so at least they can have some benefit. It's not that we are going to heal the whole world by ourselves. It requires others. It requires the participation of so many people. So that's why it's a movement. It's called a movement because of that. It is, not a unipolar power. It is a power that is spread from one pole to another pole to another pole, which each one of us has within, and that is the pole of healing. So we are like broadcasting from one to another, and energizing that pole, and you do the same. So there is no loss. There is no harm. So Bhaktivedanta Swami always used to say, hospital rules. In war, on the battlefield, hospital rules are those who are most likely to survive, I will treat them first. This chap is going to die in 1 hour. In any case, I'm not going to bother with him. I'll put him out of his pain. That's it. Those are hospital rules. Am I right? On the battlefield, you've not been there? Okay. So in surge, you
Take something.
well, it basically doctors have to take that decision. This person I can't treat here with the equipment and the facility I have. I can only make him comfortable, and I would rather treat this guy because he has a better chance of survival. Don't you make these decisions?
Yes, but it's not something which is sort of given as a...
It's not given, but it's understood that you apply these principles. That's a given. So don't beat around the bush. You are in the position of taking decisions of life and death over people. Let's understand that clearly in an overwhelming battle situation, is it not? Yes. Finally.
Even the railways makes that decision. If a train is getting late, it is made to get late, and the others.
Otherwise the whole thing will get held up. Yeah. So in restaurants also we have a rule that a person who's ordered a food, they will get prior service for any repeat orders than a new person. So sometimes the new people are crying, why we are not being served and these people are being happily served. Yes, because they're in the middle of eating, we cannot stop it. So once a process starts, it's not to be discontinued or halted. Otherwise, there will be a jolly old mess.
My grandfather was in the railways. We know that this is the way.
Yeah, it's absolutely, it makes rational, logical sense also. And if you can't wait 45 minutes, okay, please find another restaurant. Please go somewhere else, catch another vehicle. So these are some stringent, hard decisions you have to make on the ground. And life is like that, just because everything is couched in such nice language and things are okay and perfumed and nicely, talked out in clothes that look fancy, it doesn't mean there's no battle going on. There is a battle going on. So you have to apply hospital rules, emergency hospital rules. You can't save this guy with what you've got, unlikely 90% chance, no chance in 1 hour. I am not going to waste my resources on that. I will comfort that person as much as I can. I will help those who are going to be helped, who are most likely to be helped and benefit from it. So I'll rather save the savable than try to save the unsavable. Because all my effort is gone, and then I'll be doing all my, this is one thing that is very common with cancer doctors. They try and save the unsavable. And I think they're, of all the doctors I've ever seen in my life, they're the most depressed lot, because they know that there's an end point for their patients. Most of them. And they have not been able to figure out what is the cause of cancer. And when we tell people what is the cause of cancer, when we tell the doctors, they're in a bit of a shock. And then we ask them, you verify with your own experience. But the problem is that their mindset is so set that their training has excluded looking at anything else than what they are trained to do is to operate, to give medicines and to give radiation therapy and so on and so on. Anything out of that zone, they don't want to look at, because it shakes up their worldview completely. So there needs to be, and mind you, they're supposed to be scientists. So scientists also have bias, let me tell you. Scientists also have bias. So if you are maximally open, then your biases are very insignificant. If you are open to examination and review and basically verifying or verifying, and you keep coming up with a similar result, you're okay. But if you say, no, this is one thing I cannot look at because I'm wedded to it. We told people many years ago, I'm not wedded to anything. I find something better, I will go there. I've been saying that to people for years. Maybe there's something better. I'm looking, you point it out to me, I'll examine it. Let me see what it is. I'd be happy to utilize it.
You've been listening to a discussion with Nala Narula on www.gettingpositivekarmanow.com.